one semi-hopeful development right now in U.S. politics is that there definitely is a vibe shift against the Trump administration, specifically on the area that is polled as his top issue, even though by many polls he's underwater even on this, which is immigration. That was one of the things that got him elected, however filled with lies his message was. And I've told you before, while we can think, well, we knew this was going to happen, or, look at the specifics of his policies, people mostly go off of those vibes. Are they viscerally for or against what they're seeing? And one of the biggest voices that helped to get Trump elected is now participating in this very shift, and that's Joe Rogan, the very prominent podcaster. And so in this clip, and then I'll show you a second one that's also going viral, but in this clip, he says, we didn't sign up for this. The types of raids that we're seeing, the ripping apart of communities that we're watching, and that Trump isn't just doing the justification that we heard from many of his defenders, which is, it'll just be bad people. We'll just get the bad folks out. And instead, it's just making everyone in communities feel very unsafe, actually. And even Rogan's now shifting that position.
ICE raids are fucking nuts, man. Watching this protest on television, it's like...
You think the raids are nuts?
All of it's nuts.
I think both sides are taking it a little too hard.
Well, I don't think the Trump administration, if they're running and they said, we're going to go to Home Depot and we're going to arrest all the people at Home Depot, we're going to go to construction sites and we're going to just tackle people at constructions. I don't think anybody would have signed up for that. They said, we're going to get rid of the criminals and the gang members first, right? And now we're seeing Home Depots get raided. That's crazy.
So obviously, what is everyone's first reaction? Before going further, imagine I go to a bar, okay? I meet this guy, and he's like, hi, I'm Jeff. Well, hi, Jeff. What's your last name, Jeff? And he says, Dahmer. I'm like, oh, Jeff Dahmer. Well, I thought you were dead. Or in prison, but definitely dead also. And you were in prison before you were dead. And he goes, no, that was not true. I'm alive. But you might have heard some things about me. I'm not going to do anything harmful to you. And I said, okay, cool. Hottie, want to come home with me? And then Jeff said, yeah, I would like that a lot. So could you just promise me that you won't hurt me or kill me or anything? He said, no. I just kill bad people now. Okay. So we go home. And then I end up dead and my penis in a fridge. Was that a rational decision? I don't think so. We should be happy when people go, hey, I don't like that Dahmer put Luke's severed off penis in the fridge. But we also should at least acknowledge that we knew enough about Dahmer not to bring him into our house at this point. Right? So that's if civil. Are you following? I feel like you're not following. So Trump gave us every single reason to know what he was going to do. Yes, it's kind of annoying when people then go, "Wah, he put our metaphorical penis in a fridge, in a freezer. He kept it." But we can't just have that reaction. That's my plea to you, because I know many of you, understandably in the comments, will say, too late. You suck, Rogan. But I think we should encourage people, especially with his platform, however late, to come to this realization. Doesn't mean we forget what they did to get us here, but we should acknowledge that, all right, you're feeling the right feelings. Now, draw the correct conclusions from them, please. Because yes, of course, if we zoom out, we want a strong lockdown border, absolutely. And we want humane immigration policies also. We can have both. And Trump has decided that, I can't get the juiced up numbers because of the fact of how many criminals are really in the country. He can't get the types of deportation numbers that he wants by just prioritizing what sometimes he said. He also made very clear he was going to go after everybody. But he can't get the deportation numbers that he wants by just going after criminals. And so to artificially juice them up, he has to just people who have been here for decades and aside from illegal entry have been law-abiding and productive and all those things. And that's why with an immigration policy, you're going to have deportations. Definitely, you should prioritize folks, as for example Obama did or Biden did this too, that are harmful. That's just nonpartisanly obvious. But you also have to have a solution for the people who are in every other way law-abiding, who are productive, who are intertwined in a community. And it can't just be for the sake of Stephen Miller getting a hard on. They artificially juice up the numbers by tearing people's lives apart. And Trump's concern wasn't really people's lives, but the business leaders and the farmers who are seeing the impact of this kind of, I think Newsom has started calling it indiscriminate raids. Just create fear, wreak havoc, and make people feel less safe. That at any moment, even U.S. citizens and people with legal status, and then obviously people without legal status, everyone's just being harassed, and car windows are being shattered, and people are being dragged on the sidewalk, and masked agents are doing this, and the people who are trying to do it correctly, going to their court hearings to try to pursue legal status, are then having an ambush where ICE agents are there to grab them after their legal court hearing. And all of that chaos, even Trump had to come out and go, oh, somebody started doing these weird indiscriminate raids, and I think they're a little crazy.
First, on immigration, what made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. By the
way, before reminding you of his answer, and then we'll get to the second Rogan clip, please do, if you appreciate the show, click the subscribe button. It's free. Just allows the algorithm to suggest the videos to you more. And then also we are doing a live show. It's coming up. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, get them. It's filling up July 5th, Austin, Texas, LukeBeasleyShow.com/live. You can look in the description as well. It's going to be off the hook.
In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people don't. I
can't even keep listening to this. I know we've already reviewed this, so I'm going to try not to go through the whole rant again, but he keeps doing this. They will take their workers and then they will rip them away from their family and then they will accidentally or purposely deport citizens, and then they will deport citizen children with cancer, and then they will deport pregnant women who can't get the proper care, and then this is your administration. But we can't really credit Trump at this point with switching because he then had Stephen Miller clearly influence him to flip the other way, and then Tom Homan came out and said, no, everything's staying the same. So some of that could just be PR. Because listen, even with the devastating images, like I told you, of I'm serious, Cole, shut up. My beloved Waymos! They never hurt a soul. They're so kind. Welcome to the ride, Luke. Thank you. They even with images like that are politically damaging, and which a part of the reason why you shouldn't be destroying property and stuff at protests. But even with whatever negative images came out of the protest, the guy with the motorcycle and driving around, and still Trump lost on this issue, according to Harry Hinton.
Where are we? Well, I think we can say that Donald Trump has lost the political battle when it comes to what has happened out in Los Angeles. Donald Trump's net approval rating on the Los Angeles protest. Look at this. Overall, way underwater at minus 15 points. How about among independents or those who don't identify with either major party? Way even lower. Look at that. Minus 24 points on the net approval rating. And of course, this is happening on what should be one of Donald Trump's, in fact, the best issue for Donald Trump, immigration. And yet, when it comes to these Los Angeles protests, 15 points underwater overall and 24 points underwater among independents. No good.
And this was a little bit by Trump's own making. The original protest, not, but him kind of trying to stoke it and send in all these unnecessary resources to make it seem. What he wanted was the scale of the summer of 2020 to break out so that he could be, I have to law and order. And yeah, there was some law breaking, and that's bad. And there were some dangerous things that happened, and that's bad. And those people are being held accountable. There were arrests. Good. But it didn't turn into what he was hoping. And so then he didn't get to be the hero coming in. I'm going to reinstate law and order. And the protests themselves, he's underwater. And the issue at the center of the protest, which are these indiscriminate raids, I think I'll use that phrase. I think it portrays the issue pretty nicely. He's also underwater. And so on his issue, the economy, his two issues, the economy and immigration, he's already lost the trust of Americans. It's only going to get worse as we continue to hear even people who supported him wrongly, like Rogan, come to their senses a little bit. In this clip, this is actually from the first Trump term, but it's going viral right now because it applies once again. Rogan just absolutely scorched Trump.
I see a lot of people online talking about this immigrant issue, and they either don't have kids or they don't think it could happen to their kids. Their idea is, hey, shouldn't have fucking come over here. You get those kind of people. Broke the law. Shouldn't have fucking come over here if you could. You didn't want to get your kids separated. If you were in the presence of a woman who came over here from Guatemala and she's poor and she's starving and they're taking her baby away and she's wailing and screaming from a primal place in her DNA that the one thing she loves more than anything is being taken away. A baby.
Yeah.
If that doesn't freak you the fuck out, you're not a part of the team, man. You're missing it. You're missing it. What are we here for? We're here for 100 years of whatever. That's what we're here for. If you want to spend 100 years saying, hey, she shouldn't have fucking broke the law, I don't want you on the team. You're an asshole, right? And I don't give a fuck if you're right or left. I don't care if you're religious, or I don't care if you're an atheist. If that's what you support, you're an asshole, and we don't want you on our team. And I don't give a fuck if they broke the law. You don't take parents and kids and separate them. You just fucking don't. It's disgusting. If you're saying, well, they shouldn't have broke the law, maybe they shouldn't have broke the law. You don't get to do something that's 1,000 times worse than crossing a line in the dirt. That fucking imaginary line in the dirt, crossing that is nothing in comparison to your crime of stealing a baby from its mother. That's fucking insane.
And we've seen that. It's an interesting way to illustrate it, because it kind of gets at the center of why I lay out the stance that I do, which isn't to say we don't have border security. And in my ideal world, you have such effective border security and such comprehensive and expanded lawful immigration that you only have lawful immigration. That's the ideal world. But does a violation of those immigration laws justify the type of inhumanity that we've seen from the Trump administration? No, it doesn't. And so again, that clip is from the first term, but it's recirculating. And now he, in the first clip you saw today, is having the same realization. Okay, now I have to do it. But you had every reason to know this is where it was going, because you had the first term. You're on tape in the first term realizing this. But again, it seems so utterly irrational, and it is, but there was a vibe in the country. I didn't vibe with it, but there was this thing that all these people were just kind of, I don't know. Okay, chopped off a couple penises, but like, he's probably not going to this time. And I mean, that other guy, okay, maybe he hasn't chopped any, but he's so old. So can we just, and Kamala, have you seen her laugh? So people got convinced that it's just, forget the pandemic mishandling, forget the economic mishandling, forget the humanity violations, forget the coup attempt, forget all of it. All things that people like Rogan were calling out before, because I think this time he's going to be better. And then he was worse. But we don't win people over by going, you idiot. You deserve to have it chopped off by Jeffrey Dahmer. We don't say that. We think it. We don't say it. Because we want them. Come over. Come back. Come here. We don't do any chopping on this side. I promise. We don't keep any body parts in our fridges. Not even a little bit. Jeffrey Dahmer was a serial killer who chopped off people's penises. If you don't know, if you're missing that, you're like, why does he keep saying that? It's an analogy. And Trump is Jeffrey Dahmer. And they say, okay, all right, you get it. Fine, you got it. Share your thoughts in the comments.